Good morning from Vancouver International Airport. My name is Alex, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm flying with WestJet back to Calgary, on board their Boeing 737 MAX 8 in their premium cabin. First things first, this was filmed in January 2021, right after my previous flight on the MAX. That makes this only the second commercial 737 MAX flight in Canada since the grounding was lifted. Obviously though, times being what they are, I didn't set foot outside of the terminal and was only here for a few hours to fly the MAX from Calgary and back on these first flights. Now, WestJet's premium class is essentially their version of premium economy. Premium was originally introduced in 2013 as Plus, using economy class seats in a Euro business layout with middle seat blockers, basically WestJet's way of testing out the premium market. Over the years, Plus evolved to become Premium, and quite a few of WestJet's 737s now have these newer 2x2 seats up front, including all of their MAXs. WestJet Premium comes with even better food and drink offerings, and it is a pretty cost-effective way to fly in a North American premium cabin. Having said that, things have undoubtedly changed on board in the last 11 months. I was curious to see what Premium was like on the MAX, but wasn't expecting much in the way of onboard service. It was nice to see the Plaza Premium Lounge open again here in Vancouver's domestic terminal, but I didn't have a whole lot of time here to get the most out of a visit. However, past Alex did, and managed to film some footage of the interior on a separate trip through YVR in November 2019. Once again, in case it's not obvious enough by strangers standing close together and the presence of a buffet, this is very much not filmed recently, so I imagine things look a bit different these days. Nevertheless, this is pretty nice as far as lounges go. There is a nice view of the rest of the terminal, and there was a decent selection of food and drink, back then at least. That all being said, a premium ticket doesn't necessarily include free lounge access with WestJet. Access is complimentary for certain WestJet Rewards members and for those flying in business on the 787, but you can also buy a lounge pass for a fee. Our aircraft for this hour-long hop across the mountains is a 2-year-old Boeing 737 MAX 8, registered as Charlie Foxtrot Hotel Charlie Mike. This particular aircraft was WestJet's newest MAX at the time. Since filming this though, they've taken delivery of another one for the first time in quite a while, bringing the fleet to 14 MAXs at the time of uploading, with more to come. Soon enough, boarding time rolled around, so let's go see what premium is like on WestJet's 737 MAX. My seat over to Calgary is 1F in the bulkhead row of WestJet's premium cabin. My first impressions, these seats look really nice in person. Settling in, the legroom is pretty impressive, despite it being a bulkhead, and you do still get a bit of a wing view from this row. There's a storage pocket in front with just a safety card and an air sickness bag, along with this universal power outlet at every seat. There's also some storage space in the center armrest for loose items, which is pretty useful, along with a platform for drinks. The headrests are all adjustable as well. As we boarded, passengers were given the option of a disinfecting wipe for our seats, as a peace of mind gesture. Once everyone was settled in, the cabin crew came around handing out water bottles to those of us in premium. Like the previous flight, WestJet's president and CEO, Ed Sims, joined us on board. With some introductory words from him, here's our departure from Vancouver off of runway 26 left.
Copy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon. My name's Ed Sims. I'm the President and Chief Executive here at WestJet, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you on board and to thank you for joining us on what is quite a historic flight from beautiful Vancouver to equally beautiful Calgary this afternoon. I'm sure by now you are very well aware that you are on board a Boeing MAX 8, an aircraft that we have had grounded for the last 22 months, and we have been working tirelessly. Particularly I would note the gentleman in the right hand seat of your aircraft this afternoon, our Vice President of Operations, Captain Scott Wilson, who will be working with our captain of our flight today, Captain David Colhoun, to bring this aircraft back into service in a way to give you 100% peace of mind about the processes, the training, the certification that we have gone through to ensure that this aircraft will remain one of the safest aircraft that has ever flown. We flew this aircraft for 14 very successful months before the grounding and the closure of airspace to the aircraft. And in flying this aircraft, we note and mourn the terrible incidents that happened at Lion Air in Ethiopia and the loss of 346 lives. But with that, I can give you my personal confidence that the reason I am so confident to be on board this morning is because of the processes and the training, the software evaluations that we have followed. And it's given me great pleasure today to be led in that reassurance by our two largest union partners, by ALPA, represented by Captain David Colquhoun, who will be flying us home this afternoon, and by our Flight Attendants Union CUPE. And I'm delighted to have my colleague Chris Rauenbusch leading a fantastic crew, including Brigitte, la reine de Régine, as she is known, and of course Carly and Sam at the back, who represent our Flight Attendants Union. For me, this is the spirit of collaboration with which we have brought back the aircraft, and I'm really proud to have such strong representation from our pilots and our flight attendants who have the same 100% level of confidence that I do in the airworthiness of this aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, you are part of a historic flight today. It's a great pleasure to welcome you on board. For whatever reason you're travelling to Calgary, we're delighted that you've chosen WestJet, and we're delighted to have you on board this beautiful MAX aircraft, which I'll just remind everybody is 40% quieter in terms of its noise footprint than any other aircraft and 15% more fuel efficient. So those amongst many, many reasons why we believe and have such confidence in this great aircraft. I'm going to be sat in seat 4 Delta, and I'm looking forward to having any conversations with you on board as I come through the cabin. I don't think the crew are going to let me be part of the service, but I will be collecting garbage, so that might be another opportunity for you to be able to speak to me. That is, of course, my role in life, as the union partners regularly remind me. With that, I'm not going to hold our flight up. Thank you again so much for joining us this afternoon, and welcome aboard.
With that gorgeous scenic departure and nice personal reminder that there is more to the world than the frozen prairies of Alberta, let's take a closer look around the seat. You'll find a tray table in the armrest, which folds out all the way across your lap. There's also a tablet holder built into the tray table, which you'll only find in the bulkhead seats. Shortly after departure, the cabin crew came around with a drink service, and I went for another bottle of water, although they do have other options. They also handed out these snack boxes, which had a wet wipe, chocolate-covered fruit, a mint, some salted cashews, and this granola bar. It's obviously not the snack tray that they used to give out on this route, but it is something at least. Now this flight had quite a few more people on board than the previous one, so I thought it best to not be obnoxiously wandering around the cabin taking photos and videos. So 2019 Alex proved to be of some use once again, with these cabin clips that I filmed in another MAX at an event in WestJet's hangar. WestJet's 737 MAX premium cabin has 12 seats up front in a 2-2 configuration. Like I said earlier, the MAXs all have these new seats, as do the vast majority of the 737-800s. I believe they're working their way through the 737-700s, with quite a few having been done already, and there is at least one 737-600 with these. There are 3 lavatories on board, and this one at the very front is admittedly a bit small. Regardless, it was bright and clean. The rest of the aircraft is economy class, with 162 seats for a total capacity of 174 passengers on this 737 MAX. The MAX is also the only version of the 737 in WestJet's fleet with Boeing Sky interior. Compared to the older 737 NGs, it really does look nice. Now, some of you may note the lack of in-flight entertainment screens throughout that. On their 737 fleet, WestJet opted to provide entertainment through personal devices instead, which can be accessed through their app and connecting to the onboard Wi-Fi. Once there, there's the usual selection of movies, TV shows, some flight information, and a moving map. Flying between Vancouver and Calgary on a clear day like today though, the mountain views below are spectacular and had me pretty much captivated for the rest of the flight. Please enjoy these stunning views of the Rockies as we make our way down towards Calgary for a sunny arrival on runway 35 left.
Welcome you to Calgary. The local time presently is 2:23 in the afternoon. As we taxi to the gate, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
Overall, this was a really nice flight on WestJet's 737 MAX. I had originally booked this flight back in economy, but decided to upgrade to premium during check-in, seeing as there was a window seat available. To upgrade from economy to premium cost me $59, and that price does go up on longer flights, so between Calgary and Vancouver, it is a pretty good deal. I'm a huge fan of WestJet's new premium seats. They're super wide, comfortable, and without a doubt, a huge step up from the older Plus seating. The 737 MAX itself, I think, is a great aircraft to fly. It's quiet, new, and like I said in the last video, it's worth giving it a chance. The onboard offering in premium at the moment is not what it was a year ago, but it was nice to get that snack box. The way I see it though, now is probably not the time to be too worried about the food offerings on a 1-hour flight. That said, WestJet's MAXs all have ovens on board, so by the time things are a bit more normal and food service ramps back up, I think WestJet's 737 MAX Premium will be very competitive.
Cabin crew disarm doors and cross-check.
As always, thank you so much for watching this trip report with WestJet. The support I get from all of you every week is greatly appreciated, and I just wouldn't be able to do stuff like this without it. If you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, subscribe, consider becoming a channel member, and I will see you next time.